our rock star of the day. Is there a fairy in poetry land? Yes, there is. Her name is Rochelle Potkar. She flies to distant, exotic places in search of missing vowels or things that rhyme, and comes home verse-laden or draped in rivers of song, and speaks to us of love and dreams and evenings that could go on and on. Author of The Arithmetic of Breasts and Other Stories and 4 Degrees of Separation, Rochelle is the alumna of Iowa's International Writing Program and Charles Wallace Writers Fellowship, Sterling. Widely anthologized, her prose was performed by artists on stage in Iowa and Portland. She was the winner of the 2016 Open Road Review Story Contest. Her poem Cellular POW was shortlisted for the 2017 Hungry Hill Competition, Ireland. She has read her poetry at several festivals, recently the Lviv International Literary Festival, Ukraine. Her book of Highborn Paper Asylum is due soon. She's program co-founder and manager of the US Consulate General Mumbai-supported 10-day artist residency on women's empowerment that will take place in December this year. Find her at www.rochellepotkar.com.
Thank you. I've just realized that probably a bio note is to embarrass the poet. I'm so glad to be here and thank you for your presence and energy. Oh, a bribe. Thank you. And thank you, and thank you for having me over, and thank you, everybody. I've got some poems that I'm currently working on, and the reason why I got them, even if they are still new and fresh, is because that's where the maps of my obsession lie currently. I've often wondered why genocide looks very clinical after a while. I wonder whether it's humanity decapacitated, or I'm still trying to find the pivot where humanity departs, where neighbors slay each other, or where friends turn enemies, or the known becomes unknown, and maybe humanity becomes bestial, reptilian. So this is a poem called Amphibious, and it's supposed to acoustically rhyme with amphibious. Ambiguous. 1. A drainage leak and infinite cockroaches come off, scrambling, spreading, as resilient as fable, under every nook, chair and table. The intimations have happened, the plan is complete. Pesticide first, then Lakshman Rekha, flicked with spray, chemical and herbal, to kill moving limbs and immovable eggs and slow-moving babies. Keep the drainage lid tightly sealed. If they are not kept away, in the hordes that they come, male and the female kept together, even in these guest camps, they will multiply, taking over our population. The newspaper reads, Rohingya Muslims. Part 2. It all started when the house owners changed the perception of the lizard. Moving, friendly artifact, sage of months. When did it first start? Was it the domestic violence in the living tomb of hope? Or a rebel attack on someone's peace of mind? Marital rape? Transmuted intolerance? Or watching a reptile annoying in sight? Or was it that the gecko had spoiled their wall, laid eggs in the food? Was there a different beginning, further and deeper than this? Brandishing knives, machetes, homemade weapons, slingshots that fired bolts in a handful of yelling. It's always a quiver of the first wings, before the vibes breach, reaching a ripple, before the hurricane begins. One flutter enough to boil blood, spark jungles. Disproportionate is the unbearable weight of peace and calm, challenging theories of chaos, definitions of rebel. Friendlessness is euphemism. And once the house members lost favor with the tika-tiki, flapping moth in its mouth, its inhabitation, it looked extremely ugly, illegal, unwanted. An alien, it had to be hunted out with virulence. Fleeing, hungry, bleeding, a crackdown of every tuk-tu in every house. Scrambled, frightened, curdled corpses in shrunken newspaper balls. Headlined, Andaman Sea, Strait of Malacca, boat people. fabric, the rubric of fabric, especially that women wear, and also the color of fabric, especially in one of my haibun called Scabbard, which spoke about saffron and what it means. But I'm moving away from dresses now to dressing, window dressing, in this poem called Atonement. The tropical painting on glass is flaking, strain cracking. After the rioting, the commotion, the scam, the stampede. Before the weight of explanations on policy making, in the sheen of UV light, freaking. Short and long wave, polarizing strains of deceit, fluorescing. The restorer has walked in, brittle himself, with a show of stereo binocular microscope strapped to his head, a fiber optic light source, and all the gadgets in place. Independent committee, high-level probe, examination, documentation, reassembly. Removing all varnish that clouds the view of a golden bird in flight into the blue, filled with golden eggs. A state of happy resolutions, the glass sensitive to changing temperaments of sentiment, sudden shocks, bright spots of revelation. The restorer heats testaments crystalline with an excess of alkali, composites of conquest, under the big N word, prefixed with anti from time to time, swadanusar. Filling and retouching surface-level losses for a unity of composition. The picture now regains old aesthetics with pigments in synthetic raisins, new promises, phrased mantras, gobels tested with never-aging properties, smoothing surfaces, rectifying conditions of color, weathering hope with a round-robin whispering of crizzling theories. Marquituero, which means in Portuguese, spin doctor, holds the glass painting in place with a tarnish of new varnish, final promise and believability with adhesives of hypothesis, synthetics of adhesives, stories on catharsis. The picture in quadruplicity is now hung in the left wing, right wing, central wing, ceiling again of our ancient humoring heart museums. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm just